Welcome to Tiny Joys. I share how I make magnetic paw prints using dotting tools and two magnets. I use soft gel tips. I always shape my tips to match my cuticle line and file sidewalls. I use tip prep or dehydrator. Base coat I like to match to the brand of a polish I use. I apply one thin coat of hot pink, making sure all is smooth. Don't forget to wipe inhibition layer after curing. Adding a blush in the middle so the paws can pop a little bit better. I cure in between every layer I sponge on. Sponging is my preferred method of applying blush to the nail. I add a few layers until I'm happy with a blend, and that's where my lesson occurs. When I wipe my blush, a lot of my blush wipes away. So I solve this problem with adding matte top coat that matches my nail brand that I use to blush the nail. So there's no chemical competition impeding adherence. And this time everything goes smoothly. A little bit more layers until I'm happy with a blend again. I'm flash curing 10 seconds in between every layer. I do not need a perfection because the paw design will cover most of the blush anyways. I use matte top coat again to seal and smooth and then cure full time. On to the fun part of dotting paws. I make 3 dots to make a heart shape, and then using brush side, I round the hearts to match the doggy paw print shape the best. I finesse with the shape a little bit with a dotting tool also. Then back to brush for final shaping. With a round magnet, I activate magnetic particles. And then I move on to this amazing magnet to create a velvet effect. Then cure. Then on to creating little paws. I choose to do one side at a time and flash cure, activating with round magnet and back to this amazing magnet, flash cure, then do the other side. I do add 2 layers of this, so I will do all of this a second time, each time activating and then bringing the velvet. I choose to use a brush for a second layer as I wanted to finesse a shape a little bit so it resembles the heart, but it's not as pointy at the top. So I'm rounding the top with a second layer. I'm going through all the steps, activating with a round magnet, then velvet magnet, then cure, then move to one side with 2 dots, and then actually this time around I do the front paws with the brush also because I wanted to make them a little bit pointier like my pups had a claws, so I wanted to represent this closest to her shape. Then I flash cure in between and then I do the 2 back dots, of course, after I do the activation of a magnet, bring in the velvet. It's not as important to bring the velvet effect. The round magnet activating on the tiny dots is actually plenty enough. So now I see that I need to sponge on a little bit of base color around the tip. As with all of this curing, there is some shrinkage that occurred, and I could see the side of the tips that needed a second coat. So I sponge on a little bit because I like to keep my tips quite thin. Then cure it I clean off my sponge and move on now to the heart shape. I make this little bird shape wings. Again, I'm not looking for perfection. In fact, creating the shape of the heart, I trying to be perfectly imperfect because I cannot achieve perfect. Therefore, I'm trying to achieve intentional imperfection. This particular painting gel is really thick, a bit 3D. So I load the brush with the paint, and you have to work really fast as the studio light being LED set this gel very fast. I'm looking for balanced shapes and going back top to bottom of the heart, not looking to connect the sides but overlap them. I'm trying to create a bit of a height as it is a shade on shade, and I'm looking to create a bit of a raised shape. So I make a little boo-boo and the wiping is successful, but at this point I should have cured some of my heart because now I'm pretty happy with my shaping. And if I make another boo-boo, wiping sometimes doesn't go very smooth and ruins your whole design. Even though this painting gel doesn't have an inhibition layer, it still has a lot of paint left behind, as you can see on the wipe here. So I always wipe in between all of my layers. As you've seen previously, sometimes wiping isn't even enough. You have to seal it. Onto the 3D work, I use thick JIN.B. I take a dollop with a dotting tool and place it in the middle of a paw and let it self-level for a little bit while I'm doing toes. It is a dangerous maneuver and you should definitely not attempt that because again, you could ruin your design, but I like to live on the edge, I guess. Cure and onto the second layer, finessing the shape. JIN.B strings a little bit, so you want to do a little quick circular motions to release the gel from the tool. I achieved desired height in 2 layers, but you definitely can go on building. I flip design to level to the middle a little bit and cure, and now we're moving into top coat. I like to use the thinnest, runniest, shiniest top coat possible, and this one is from Temu, my tried and true cheapest top coat you can find. And I'm just wiping all of the excess from the sides of a nail, checking with the flashlight. I don't want to file or buff it to finish it. I wanted to keep it thin. I give it a finish wipe and enjoy my little creation. Thanks for watching. Make sure you make time for your tiny joys. Please check out my vlog that comes with a backstory for this set. Toodles!